Epping is a country market town only 18 miles from the very centre of London. It has a population of nearly 12,000 and is mainly residential. As one enters the town from the north, there is a pleasant green before the actual high street is reached. Approaching from the south, one has to travel through Epping Forest. This can be beautiful at any time of the year, but is especially so in the autumn. Epping is very fortunate that the forest protects the town from the urban sprawl of London. The High Street is wide, tree-lined and pleasant, and has largely managed to retain its country atmosphere. It is 300 feet above sea level and is one of the highest in Essex. In fact, the name Epping means upland dweller. Epping is the sort of place in which most people would like to live, and this is reflected in the prices asked for properties in the area. Although Epping is well served by buses and Green Line coach services, it is also fortunate in having the central line of the underground system, making access to London fast and reliable. Trains terminate at Epping, but a shuttle service to Chipping Ongar 6 miles further on was in 1980 threatened with closure. Over the years, Epping has more than doubled its population. Quite a few estates of desirable properties have been built, and all the examples shown were once the grounds of some of the larger houses. Seen here are a few of the many townhouses constructed where once stood a large house called Thaden Grove. Some of old Epping still remains, and mostly this is in the area close to the High Street. Chapel Row, a terrace of old cottages opposite Station Road, was demolished in the early 70s and has been replaced by several shops. Now mellowing a little, they blend fairly well with the surroundings. In 1979, Woolworths was rebuilt and extended, yet retained its external appearance to a remarkable degree. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of this supermarket, which stands on the site previously occupied by Victoria Buildings. In accordance with a charter granted in 1253 by Henry III, a market is held in the High Street every Monday. Until 1960, this incorporated a cattle market, but alas, the busy main road could no longer tolerate the odd animal that managed to escape from its pen, and now only the street traders add a little colour to the scene. All sorts of livestock was sold, and less than 100 years ago, several wives changed hands for a few shillings. The most publicised was the selling of a Mrs. Ruderley by Thomas Godfrey, a workhouse master. She was taken to the market in January 1830 and auctioned for 12.5 pence at present-day prices. Although the cattle market was discontinued in 1960, Epping High Street became a black spot for traffic in the late 60s and early 70s. Accidents were commonplace, and residents eagerly awaited the completion of the M11 motorway, which would bypass the town. Residents of Epping who wish to take up swimming have to travel to either Loughton or Harlow, which are both about 5 or 6 miles away. Apart from this, practically every other sport is catered for. There is even an 18-hole golf course within 2 miles of the town. For such a small town, Epping is fortunate in having a well-equipped sports centre with space and equipment for most of the indoor activities and training facilities for the most popular outdoor sports. Much attention is given to the needs of young people, and these are catered for during off-peak hours. Epping's Comprehensive School is situated in its own grounds in Tower Road. The buildings are modern and there are excellent facilities including rooms for domestic science, needlework, art, sculpture, pottery, fabric printing and commerce. There is a gymnasium, a lecture theatre, an engineering shop and a block housing science laboratories. The pleasant sports field is extensive and adjoins open countryside. Places of worship for most denominations can be found in the town. The main parish church is that of St. John the Baptist, and was built in 1888. The church tower was erected later in 1907 and is 96 feet high. It has been described as architecturally the best thing in Epping and is by Charles Bodley. Being mainly a residential town, Epping does not have large industrial estates. Probably the largest single employer is British Matthews. Has long been famed for the fine quality of its pigs and sausages, and in bygone days most people in Epping kept a pig. One woman made such a fuss of hers that not only did it sleep indoors, but also between clean linen sheets and pillows. The most famous pig was one sold in the market in 1818. It is said to have weighed 182 stone. A hog 10 feet long and 4 feet high with a girth of 8 feet. Even today, Epping is renowned for the quality of its sausages. In olden days, one of Epping's industries was providing accommodation for travellers using the old coach route from London to Norwich. In 1871, at least 12 coaches a day journeyed to London, with as many returning. As recently as 1800, 26 inns could be found along the former A11 main road through the town. A few of these inns have survived, and some, like the Thatched House, the Cock and the Bell, are now 3-star establishments. Agriculture naturally plays a large part in the life of a country town such as Epping, and great areas are given over to the cultivation of cereal crops for which the land is particularly suitable. The area to the north and east of Epping has been described as the Granary of England. Copt Hall became the manor which dominated Epping as early as the 12th century. During its existence, it became famous after several royal visits, with the result that Epping became renowned for the excellence of its inns. There have been several visits to Copt Hall by royalty. Charles II dined there, James II visited, and William III dined and stayed the night on his way to Newmarket. Over the years, 3 buildings have occupied the site, and in 1917 a fire gutted the last of these mansions, and only the ruins now remain. The estate of Copt Hall commands fine views, and the grounds also adjoin Epping Forest. One of the main reasons for Epping being fairly well known is because of its forest. This was jealously guarded by royalty for hunting and for timber. For instance, it took 50 acres of forest to build one battleship. In 1607, a main road was carved through the forest from the Wake Arms to London. It was a haven for highwaymen, and it was here that Dick Turpin shot a forest keeper in 1737. Today, the forest is the playground for Londoners.